The garage that once served as a makeshift community hub had become a symbol of possibility, but Liam knew that if he wanted to make a bigger impact, he needed to expand. The idea of starting a non-profit organization had been forming in his mind for weeks, inspired by the people who depended on the hub and those who had found renewed purpose through its modest success. Sitting with Caleb, Rosa, and Lexi one evening, Liam laid out his vision. "I've been thinking," he began. "What if we turned the hub into something official? A non-profit organization, with proper funding and resources? That way, we could help more people, not just here but across the city." Rosa raised an eyebrow. "Sounds ambitious, Liam. Do you even know where to start?" Liam shook his head but smiled. "Not really. But I've learned that we don't have to know everything up front. We'll figure it out as we go." The first step was deciding on a name. After much debate, the group settled on Second Chances. "It's what we're all about," Lexi said. "Giving people another shot at life." The name resonated with everyone. It was simple, powerful, and reflected the heart of their mission. Liam quickly realized that starting a nonprofit was far more complicated than he'd anticipated. He spent hours at the public library researching the legal requirements, writing grant proposals, and drafting a mission statement. "Why does this have to be so complicated?" Liam muttered one afternoon, surrounded by books and papers. "Because good intentions aren't enough," Caleb replied, glancing over from his own stack of documents. "If you want people to take you seriously, you've got to prove you're organized and trustworthy." Liam nodded, though he felt overwhelmed. He had no formal experience in running an organization, but he was determined to learn. The next hurdle was securing funding. The hub had been operating on donations from locals and the group's collective ingenuity, but scaling up required more substantial support. Liam reached out to everyone he could think of, including some of his former acquaintances from his days as the son of a wealthy tycoon. Most were polite but dismissive, unwilling to invest in what they saw as a risky venture. One particularly harsh rejection came from an old business associate of his father. "Liam," the man said with a condescending smile, "you're not your father. Stick to something smaller. Leave the big ideas to the professionals." The words stung, but they fueled Liam's determination. Just as Liam was beginning to lose hope, a stroke of luck came in the form of a local journalist who had heard about the hub. She interviewed Liam and the others, highlighting the impact Second Chances had already made in the community. The article brought much-needed attention to their cause, and small donations began trickling in from readers inspired by their story. "I told you people would care," Rosa said, patting Liam on the back. Liam grinned. "It's a start, but we've got a long way to go." As donations grew, so did the scope of their work. Liam realized he couldn't do everything himself. He began recruiting volunteers, starting with people from the hub. Rosa took charge of organizing the day-to-day operations, using her natural leadership skills to keep things running smoothly. Caleb handled logistics, drawing on his military background to create efficient systems. Lexi became the organization's creative force, designing promotional materials and running art workshops for local kids. Even Jamal, who had initially been hesitant, stepped up to help with outreach, using his storytelling talents to connect with potential donors and partners. Despite the progress, challenges persisted. They often ran out of supplies, faced bureaucratic hurdles, and dealt with skepticism from people who doubted their ability to make a lasting impact. But Liam had learned to be resourceful. He negotiated deals with local businesses to donate surplus food and materials, repurposed discarded items into usable goods, and even bartered services to stretch their limited funds. "Every setback is just another problem to solve," Caleb reminded him during one particularly tough week. Liam took those words to heart, tackling each obstacle with renewed determination. With their limited resources, Second Chances launched its first official programs. These programs were small but impactful, and they gave the organization a clear direction. One day, while Liam was sorting donations, he received an unexpected visitor, Jessica, the old acquaintance who had previously visited the hub. "I've been following what you're doing," she said, handing him an envelope. "This is from me and a few friends. We believe in what you're building." Liam opened the envelope to find a check for $10,000. I don't know what to say," Liam stammered, overwhelmed. Say you'll keep going, Jessica said with a smile. This world needs more people like you. The donation was a turning point for Second Chances. It allowed them to expand their programs, hire a part-time staff member, and secure a larger, more permanent space for their operations. For Liam, it was validation that they were on the right path. This is just the beginning, he told the team as they celebrated the milestone. We're not just helping people survive, we're helping them thrive. As Second Chances continued to grow, Liam began to see the bigger picture. Poverty wasn't just an individual struggle, it was a systemic issue that required collective action. He started attending community meetings, advocating for policies that supported affordable housing, access to education, and job training programs. He also partnered with other nonprofits and local leaders, realizing that collaboration was key to creating lasting change. Liam's journey had come full circle. He was no longer the carefree, privileged son of a billionaire. He was a man with a purpose, driven not by wealth or status, but by a desire to make a difference. And as he stood in the bustling new headquarters of Second Chances, surrounded by the people whose lives he had helped transform, Liam felt something he hadn't felt in years: pride. He had discovered who he was, and it was someone far richer than he had ever been before. Liam's journey wasn't over, but he knew one thing for sure: he was ready for whatever came next. With resilience, compassion, and determination, he would continue to build a legacy of hope and second chances. The early success of Second Chances was exhilarating. Liam and his team were filled with hope as they saw lives beginning to transform. But as with any meaningful endeavor, challenges soon began to mount, testing Liam's resolve and forcing him to confront the complexities of running a nonprofit organization. Despite the influx of donations following the local article and Jessica's contribution, funding remained tight. The operational costs of their new headquarters, combined with the growing demand for services, quickly drained their resources. We need to stretch every dollar, Caleb said, poring over the budget with Liam one evening. At this rate, we won't last another 6 months. Liam sighed, running a hand through his hair. I know, but I don't want to start cutting programs. People are counting on us. They tried everything to bring in more funds, hosting community fundraisers, applying for grants, and reaching out to local businesses. Some efforts were successful, but the money never seemed to be enough. One particularly disheartening moment came when a major grant application was denied. Liam had spent weeks perfecting the proposal, only to receive a curt rejection letter. Keep your head up, Rosa told him. This isn't the end. We'll find another way. As if financial woes weren't enough, Second Chances faced an unexpected legal issue. A disgruntled former volunteer, upset over a perceived slight, filed a complaint against the organization, accusing them of unfair treatment and mismanagement. Though the accusations were unfounded, the legal fees and time spent addressing the complaint drained resources and energy. Liam felt the weight of responsibility more than ever. What if this ruins us? He confided to Caleb one evening. It won't, Caleb said firmly. We've done everything by the book. This is just someone trying to stir trouble. Even so, the ordeal left Liam feeling vulnerable. The incident was a harsh reminder of how fragile their operation was and how easily it could be derailed. Adding to their challenges was the emergence of another nonprofit organization in the area. Led by a charismatic and well-connected individual, the new group quickly gained popularity and secured significant funding. Liam couldn't help but feel envious as he watched the other organization flourish. Their polished image and professional campaigns attracted donors who might have supported Second Chances. Maybe they're just better at this than we are, Liam admitted to Rosa during a particularly low moment. Don't you dare say that, Rosa shot back. They might have more money, but we have heart. People see that. Don't lose faith. The pressure continued to mount. Liam worked long hours, often sacrificing sleep and meals to keep the organization running. The stress began to take its toll, leaving him irritable and exhausted. One night, after yet another failed fundraiser, Liam finally broke down. Sitting alone in the dimly lit office, he buried his face in his hands and let the tears flow. I can't do this, he whispered to himself. I'm not cut out for this. In his darkest moment, Liam received an unexpected visit from his former mentor, Ethan, the once proud rival who had faced his own hardships. You look like hell, Ethan said bluntly, pulling up a chair. Thanks, Liam muttered. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Ethan chuckled. I'm serious. You're burning yourself out. I've been there. You think the weight of the world is on your shoulders, but it's not. You've got a team. Let them help you. Liam shook his head. I don't want to let them down. You're not letting anyone down by taking care of yourself, Ethan said. In fact, you'll be letting them down if you don't. You can't lead if you're running on empty. Ethan's words struck a chord. Liam realized he had been so focused on the mission that he had neglected his own well-being. The next day, Liam called a team meeting. For the first time, he opened up about the struggles he had been facing and admitted that he couldn't do it all alone. I've been trying to carry too much, he said, his voice trembling. But this isn't just my fight. It's ours. And I need your help. The team rallied around him, offering their support and ideas for how to move forward. Caleb took over more of the administrative work, Rosa organized a series of community events to boost morale, and Lexi spearheaded a social media campaign to raise awareness about their programs. With the team's renewed energy, Second Chances began implementing creative solutions to their problems. 1. Collaborations with local businesses. Liam negotiated partnerships with local businesses, offering them publicity in exchange for sponsorships and donations. 2. Workshops for fundraising. Rosa organized skill-based workshops, charging a small fee to participants and using the proceeds to fund their programs. 3. Volunteer-led initiatives. Lexi encouraged volunteers to take ownership of smaller projects, allowing the organization to expand its reach without overburdening the core team. These efforts not only brought in much-needed funds, but also strengthened the organization's ties to the community. As Liam saw the organization stabilizing, his motivation returned. He reflected on his past mistakes, remembering the arrogance and entitlement that had once defined him. I won't go back to being that person, he said to Caleb one evening. I've been given too many second chances to waste this one. Caleb nodded. And you're making the most of it. That's what matters. One day, Liam received an email that changed everything. A large, unexpected donation from a philanthropic foundation. The donor, inspired by the organization's work, had decided to support them without even being asked. This is a game changer, Rosa said, beaming. It's more than that, Liam replied. It's proof that what we're doing matters. Though the challenges hadn't disappeared, Second Chances was stronger than ever. Liam had learned that resilience wasn't about avoiding setbacks. It was about facing them head-on and refusing to give up. As he stood in the bustling headquarters, watching volunteers and community members working together, Liam felt a deep sense of gratitude. The journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever came next. With his team by his side and a renewed sense of purpose, Liam knew they could overcome any obstacle. And as he looked around at the lives they had already touched, he realized that the greatest success wasn't in what they had built, it was in the hope they had inspired.